My name's Dennis O'Connell Baker and I am the designer for Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. For any production, the design is integral to the success of the production. The core of the production is of course the text, but since the text is to be performed, it is a visual as well as an oral experience, and the design of the production is going to be complementary to that performance experience and enhance its effects. The first thing the designer needs to do is to read the text, then to discuss with the director's vision of how the text will be performed. When I'm selling a design to the director and actors, one of the things I always say is that the design follows the action. The design should not dictate the action. With this particular play, that's very much the case. It is a play where the action moves from one scene to the next very, very rapidly, which means that the design has to be kinetic rather than static. You may have bits of mobile sets that are brought on and taken off according to the action, but you can't have great chunks of scenery that have to be moved, because that would just break up the action, and it would be in fact design leading the action rather than the other way around. In the text of Frankenstein there are 7 or 8 different locations, all of which have to be accommodated on a relatively small stage. In order to set the convention of those locations, the designer has to work with the lighting person so that those areas are lit in such a way to communicate to the audience that it is a particular location, for example, ice or an interior home. It's all a matter of timing. So the storyboard gives you the sequence of events, both in terms of the actors, lighting, sound and audio-visual. The designer of any production will have to be very conscious of the technical opportunities and limitations of the theatre. For example, at the Abbey Theatre, lighting on the stage is largely hung from 3 static bars above the stage. The designer therefore has to be clear where the light from those bars is going to fall and work around that in the design of the set. When I read the text of Frankenstein, there are many clues in the text as to how it should be expressed visually. The text of this particular play is very firmly located in a particular era and historic time. It's also firmly located in a particular artistic tradition, i.e. Romanticism. Immediately what came to mind was the work of the German painter Caspar Friedrich, whose works very much reflect the period and also are consonant with the text. One of the features of the Romantic period in art, literature, poetry and so on is a much more vivid imagination of landscape. And if you read Mary Shelley's text, you'll see that a range of landscapes are very vividly portrayed, and they set the backdrop to the action of the play, and in many respects determine the colour palette, the visual aspects of the play. Being a designer for a show, it takes up probably 3 to 6 months of your life. That period ends when the show opens. So the designer does all the work before the show opens and has nothing to do after. The great joy of designing is to see your work performed.